What it do, golf fans? Welcome back to the Turn to Arse Golf Podcast. This is Liam. Alongside me is Jack. Jack, we had a great week in golf. Robert McIntyre ended up winning the tournament with his dad on the bag for the RBC Canadian Open.
Return of the Mac.
There you go. Yeah, I was a couple weeks early in terms of the turn dogs. But overall, what'd you think of the week?
I had Robert McIntyre last week, so I don't know what the heck happened. But I'll be honest, didn't watch a second of this tournament. I don't know what happened. Didn't bet a penny on it. I was more, I was also obviously missing from last week, which I apologize for, guys. I'm sorry you were stuck with Liam. I'm sorry you guys didn't get my bets. Transparency, I was with the fam. Sister graduated, went off for a big girl job. I was soaking up as much family time as I could, and I didn't get away, and I didn't have any research, and that's why I didn't bet a penny. I bet a lot on the Women's U.S. Open, which really quick, shout out to Yuka Sasso. Oh my God, is she good? Second U.S. Open, I think the youngest woman or female golfer ever. She won gold in the Asia Games or Pan Am Games. I can't remember which one because she's both Filipino and Japanese, so I can't remember which one it was. And then we'll probably win a medal of some sort in this year's Olympics. Shout out to her and Fitakili, Fitakul, who was my lone golf bet of the week, which is unlike me for finishing in the top 10. Back to real golf, though, kind of a terrible week and a great week.
Yeah, I mean the big names are all up there in terms of in the finishing spots. You know, you had Rory T4, you had Maverick McNeely T7. I know you had Corey Connors in the top 7, but it was a lot of kind of not unknown, but like B tier golfers. I mean Ryan Foxy, Robert McIntyre. Who else was up there?
Chandler Phillips.
Chandler Phillips was the one that stood out to me.
Keith Mitchell was up there. Let's go, Keith Cashmere, baby.
Mitchell was up there. I know Damon was up there as well at one point throughout the week.
was up there too, which is good. I mean, Jacob Bridgman.
Yeah, Jacob Bridgman was up there. It was not the week where all of the big names were hanging out at the top, but they all ended up near the top at the end of the week somehow. Which is kind of funny, the way it all ended up working out. Because Jack was off last week, he doesn't have a lot of the DraftKings and the FanDuel. I will go through a lot of that stuff for me. Unless there's anything else you're trying to cover.
I have nothing to cover. I didn't watch anything.
Perfect. No worries. On my end, DraftKings lineup, I had Rory, who finished T4, Alex Noren, who was probably the biggest surprise of the week as far as missing the cut, Davis Thompson, who missed the cut, Taylor Pendrith, who was T21, Thornbjorn Olesen, who was T27, Henrik Norlander, who missed the cut. On FanDuel, I had Rory McIlroy, who was T4, Alex Noren, missed cut, Maverick McNeely, T7, Davis Thompson, missed cut, Ryan Fox, T7, and Alistair Doherty at the missed cut. So not my best in terms of overall finishes. Quite a few guys that ended up missing the cut. But again, if you're telling me that Alex Noren and Davis Thompson are both missing their first cuts in 8 weeks apiece, it's going to happen. I'm okay with it as far as it goes because in all actuality, I pretty much evened out when it came to it at the end of the week. So neither of those were that great, but beyond that, let's get into bets. I went 3 for 6. Most of my losses came from the fact that Alex Noren also missed a cut. Because I had Alex Noren top 20 at plus 150. That was a loss. I had Alex Noren over Sam Burns. Sam Burns decided he was going to play his best golf in the last 9 weeks. I had Maverick McNeely top 30 at plus 110. That was a win. I had Adam Scott as the top Aussie over Aaron Baddeley and Harrison Endicott. I think Aaron Baddeley and Harrison Endicott combined for 19 over par. And both missed the cut. So it was not a crazy win, and it was minus 170, but that's still a nice win. Rory McIlroy, top 20, round 1 was plus 110. And then I took a flyer on Cam Champ, top 40 at plus 220, and that was a loss.
He was up there at one point, wasn't he?
He was. He was flirting with top 30, top 40. He had a really bad Friday. I think he finished just off of the cut line. But again, it was a calculated risks, and I knew that between my 5 other bets, I had a high likelihood of at least getting back to even money. And then if Cam Champ won, obviously that plus 220 was going to be a pretty good win. But unfortunately, just didn't work out. So 3 for 6. I technically lost 0.35 units on the week. So I'm currently at negative 1.1 units, which sucks. So I got to turn that around. As far as winners, I had Taylor Pendrith, who was T21, and then I took Cam Champ, who missed the cut. I know, Jack, you had, Sahith Theegala and Lowry?
Whatever I texted off a whim is who I have. I genuinely don't remember, so I'm counting on you here.
Yeah, you had both of them. I don't know where they finished. If you want to pull that up, just to.
Who are my winners? I have no idea.
You had Lowry and Theegala. Let me know what you had for them.
Shane Lowry is 33rd.
Okay.
Theegala was 5 over.
Oh, so that's a rough week for Theegala. Okay. Good to know. And then as far as wild picks go, we had Rory to be in the final pairing on Sunday, plus 260. Again, he finished T4, but I think he shot 5 or 4 under on Sunday in order to get there, so he wasn't really ever going to be that final pairing. But it was closer than it probably could have been. All right, let's get through the RBC there. Onto the Memorial, into an elevated event.
Into whose place?
Jack's place.
Whose place? I'm just kidding.
Okay, I was like, please don't make me say that back and forth a couple times. This is a par 72, totaling 7,500 and roughly 75 yards, depending on where they put the tee boxes. Last year's winner was Victor Hovland. Wow, how the mighty have fallen. Victor Hovland 1 year last year.
And he won that off one hole, if you guys remember.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about it like that. So again, I kind of commented on it. We have a signature event this week. Next week is going to be the U.S. Open. And then the following week is actually also going to be the Travelers, which is another elevated event. So it's going to be a really good couple weeks here in golf.
And then a couple weeks after that, John Deere Classic, baby.
John Deere is always right around like 4th of July weekend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, no, it's going to be a good couple week stretch here. Murfield Village is one of the most punishing to miss the fairway at. The score difference between balls that find the rough and those that hit the fairway is over half a stroke. That's the highest difference of any active golf course on the PGA Tour. Outside of the 4 par 5s on this course, you have a course fit for basically major championship golf at a moment's notice. All 14 holes that aren't the 4 par 5s gain over par to the field in last year's tournament. And again, to tell you how tough the course was, Victor Hovland won here at a pedestrian 7 under par last year. This course is top 5 in both the smallest greens and also top 5 in the longest courses on the PGA Tour in 2024. The only other course to have this comparison is Valhalla, which hosted the PGA Championship. There's not a ton of data in terms of what you need to win here. You basically need everything. The greens are tiny. The fairways are not that, or I guess what's the best way to describe it? The fairways are narrow, very long, and you just got to be able to hit every aspect of every shot.
I kind of call this course Ohio's Medina, in a sense of if you're hitting fairway in the middle of the green, you can score here. If you're off course, it is hard.
Yeah, 100%.
Because we've seen, who was it, Cantlay that finished 19 under here? Like, you technically can score. They've made it obviously progressively harder, but yep. I wanted to say it was either Cantlay or Bryson. One of those two finished right under 20. I can't remember.
Well, Cantlay won here a couple times. I think last in 2021, so that would make sense. But the other challenge with this course is that every few years they undergo like construction or refurbishment to either lengthen the course or put new greens on or change out bunkers. So this course is nothing compared to what it was 10 years ago. Their last big remodel was when they replaced almost all of the greens. That was in 2019. So if you want to look at course history, which it's not awful here to look at, it's just I consider it more of a bonus than anything else. Look at people that have basically played well here since 2019 and onward. That's usually the best way to go for it. So, all right. Do we want to go into DraftKings and start looking at DFS plays?
Let's do it. Let's loop in the top 4 guys, which are Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, Xander Schauffele, and the most overpriced guy in physical DFS history.
Yeah, Victor Hovland. He is overpriced, but again, he won here last year, and he's not worth getting to this year.
He's progressively getting better, but you take away third at the PGA, 24, 71, 62, 36 in his last other four.
Yeah, it's rough for Victor, and in all honesty, the other three guys are exponentially better. I mean, yeah, like it feels rude to say, but like he won here last year. He's just not the same guy when he won. I mean, you got Scotty Scheffler, who's currently the closest thing we've seen to Prime Tiger since Prime Tiger. It's extremely expensive in terms of price to get him at 12,500. I don't blame you if you want to do it. It makes sense. He's basically going to guarantee you a top 5 or better. And if he has an awful week, he's going to get you a top 10. You know, God forbid that happens. He's averaged 8.9 strokes gained ball striking in each of his last 7 starts. That is averaged, by the way. That is not an outlier to say that his best week was that. He's also gained strokes with the putter in each of those last 7 starts as well. So Scotty has found a putter, which basically means Scotty domination in that sense. Last year, Scotty lost over 8 strokes putting here, and he still finished third in the tournament, which tells you that if he has a putter and he didn't last year and he still finished third, he's probably in good shape. He did have 20 strokes gained tee to green last year at this tournament, which is absolutely absurd, which tells you just how bad his putter truly was at this time. So,
yeah, I mean, the reality with Scotty is, and my boss said, "Hey, Jack, who do you think's going to win this week?" And I said, "Scotty by whatever way he wants."
yeah.
We think about when he played at the PGA, he had one bad round. And if you take a look from the Genesis when he had an atrocious 10th place finish, he went win, second, win, 8th, second.
Yeah, pretty much.
In terms of DFS pricing for that list, plus one bad round, 12,500 is not that bad.
It's not bad. The biggest challenge is that usually when he's priced this high, you have a 5K range to bank yourself on, to try and save money. You just don't have that luxury this week, just because it's the elevated event with the smaller field. So keep that in mind. But again, totally understand if you want to get to him. It's just going to be if you want to go with Scotty and everybody else, or if you want to try and save money and go with a guy that I like, like a Rory or Xander.
Yeah.
Rory,
go ahead.
All right, Rory actually had a great week last week, despite having a bad statistical week. He struggled in the second round, losing almost 4 strokes on approach. If you look at his history here at Muirfield, it's not his best tournament. He has a couple top 10s and a few top 20s, but he even has a good mix of top 40s and missed cuts. His approach play and his putter have both really struggled for him here. He's lost 3 of the last 4 times he's played this event with the approach game and the putter. It's kind of small, but I almost want to avoid him this week. I honestly think Xander's probably the second best option.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to talk about fading Hovland like the wind. Outside of his win, his other 3 starts are 51, 47, and 48. And arguably, this is probably the worst we've seen Hovland 3 years.
Yeah.
This is not Hovland. And if he's struggling here, I mean, you're taking a look at a guy outside of one start that's met expectations. I'm fading him like the wind.
Yeah. I think Xander's the second best option here. He's just Scotty light. I mean, if Scotty wasn't being as good as he was,
Diet Scotty.
If Scotty was not as good as he was, I think Xander would probably be in contention right now to be golfer of the year. But it's just the fact that he's currently facing a guy who's basically won 4 times, and his worst finish is 15th place on tour this year, which is just like a cheat code. So I totally, if you can get to Scotty, that's great. Otherwise, I like Xander personally.
100%.
All right, into the 9K range we go. We've got Colin Morikawa down to Hideki Matsuyama at 9,000.
Yeah, I mean, there's 3 guys in here that I think you should target. It's really the top 3 guys.
Yep.
Yes, Cantlay has been not Cantlay this year, much like we just talked about Victor Hovland. This could be by the way, the last was it like 3 of his last 4 finishes have been good. PGA Championship, he struggled, but when you're anticipating that, no one was really high on him. Outside of that, really kind of looked like he was getting a little bit back to Cantlay. And I think this is an event where you can really come into home. This might be on PGA Tour, his home course. I like that. I think Aubert is going to have a really good bounce back week. He had another, much like Cantlay, terrible, probably his only missed cut is PGA Tour status career, missing the cut at the PGA. So I think he's going to bounce back. And then Colin Morikawa is coming into a world of his own where he's about to have a breakthrough. I think this could be a really good spot for him.
Yeah, Colin Morikawa has gained in 4 of his last 5 starts for both ball striking and putting, which we haven't gotten that level of Morikawa since he basically won the Open. It's a different breed of Morikawa. We talked about it earlier on this year that he had been struggling, but this is the kind of Colin Morikawa we like. His stats look much worse than they actually are here too, because he withdrew here last year. But if you look at it otherwise, he was 2 shots behind the leader when he withdrew in the 3rd round due to back spasms. It's not likely that's going to happen again. He's also finished 2nd here, but prior to that as well. So Colin Morikawa is going to absolutely crush it this week. I'm honestly a pretty big fan of his. The biggest challenge is getting to his price point. Ludwig Aubert, he missed the cut of PGA Championship on the number, which I think will scare some people away, which is totally fine by me. He's gained on approach in 9 of his last 10 starts. I'm a big fan of his this week. If you can't get to Morikawa, get to Ludwig, because I think they're probably 1A, 1B. And then Patrick Cantlay, Jack kind of talked on him a little bit, but he's the ultimate course history guy here at Muirfield. He's won here twice, most recently in 2021. He has 5 top 10s or better in his 8 starts here. His other finishes are like T30s, which even then you're not, hating it too much. The biggest question as far as Cantlay goes is that he just hasn't really been himself this year. We made jokes probably like a month ago on how he couldn't finish on Sundays.
I'll still make that joke. Patrick can't finish.
Yeah, it's not gone anywhere. He's the same golfer. He still can't finish on Sundays. So keep that in mind. If you are feeling extremely dangerous and you feel like playing with fire, Hideki is still a good golfer.
Breaking news.
Yeah, well, you could fool me because the amount of times this guy withdraws, it's crazy. But yeah, I think he'd be a really good option here statistically. Again, he withdrew before the Byron Nelson, so that's not going to show up, but that is worrisome. His finishes otherwise the last 7 weeks outside of that withdrawal have been no worse than I think T25. He's been great. The irons have been great. The short game's been great. It's just that you don't know if Hideki is going to make it 72 holes. I mean, you don't know if you don't know if he's playing all 4 rounds. It's the biggest challenge with Hideki.
I don't know. I think he's fine. One person I think to avoid is actually Tommy Fleetwood, and that pains me to say. It really does. I love Tommy Fleetwood, Tommy Flo. He's awesome. You may look at the stats and see an incredible amount of play. He has, in his career, lost almost 12 shots overall at this course, which is insane. Every statistical measure is just in blatant red. Be worrisome. He's known to be a little flaily. He's been on a tear and hasn't made a ton of birdies, which could be good, but I don't love it. And that pains me to say because I love Tommy Fleetwood. Yeah,
that's fair. All right, let's get into the 8K range. We're starting with Wyndham Clark at 8,900 all the way down to Sungjae Im at 8,000. He's moving back up in price.
Honestly, is it bad to say that's not terrible?
What?
Sungjae at 9K or 8K?
No, it's very respectable. Again, it's a question of are we getting recent Sungjae or are we getting first 3.5 months of the year of Sungjae?
He's kind of going on that Sepp Straka where he's 5th, 109th, 3rd, or whatever he went. It's scary. But
yeah,
in all seriousness, there's 2 guys in here that I really, really like. One is Max Homa. Max Homa has had back-to-back weeks where it's been scary, including Charles Schwab, which not the biggest course fit in the world, but not 120th place or whatever he finished. That was scary. I think he knows that this is a week where he's going to bounce back, and I think he's going to be fine. If it goes, I'm projecting this to probably go around 11 under as a winning score. Just it's every every tournament has blown scoring out of the water so far, so I'm anticipating it go high. I have no issue with Max Homa. His last 2 starts here are 5th and 6th, so I think he's coming into his own. And if there's one guy that should be able to play major golf and has always struggled but is finally coming into form, it's Max Homa. I think this is a really reasonable price for him, and I think you can get to it on a lot of levels.
Yeah, I'm big on Homa this week too. Big fan of his at 8,700. I think it's a good price. I got a few guys I'm going to mention. Some I like, some I don't. If you want a true wild card risk option, Wyndham Clark at 8,900 statistically should be a really good choice. He has 4 top 10s this year and 4 missed cuts. So you get the blend of the elite approach play and the putting, but you're also just as likely to get a T40 out of Wyndham. It's a high ceiling, low floor approach. If you are in single entries where maybe, only the top 1% or whatever cash, he's probably a good option at 8,900 because he's, again, not the most expensive guy. You just need to be aware that he could very well finish top 5 or bottom 5 this week. It's entirely dependent. If you're looking at Jordan Spieth at 8,600, he's probably 2nd or 3rd in this field in course history. If you look specifically at the last 5 years here, he's finished T5, T18, T18, T13, T7. If you look at his strokes gain metrics, he's actually been driving the ball spectacularly recently, and that's about it. That's where his good strokes gains metrics end. The putter is ice cold. The approach isn't much warmer. He's lost on approach and putting in 8 of his last 10 starts. It's just it's not there.
In the last 9 years of this event, though, he does rank 3rd in average finish, only behind Scotty and Cantlay.
Yep, that makes sense. I figured he'd be 2nd or 3rd in terms of course history. So yeah, it's a viable option in terms of going to. Just know that there inherently is that Jordan Spieth risk when it comes to it. I don't like the fact that this 8K has so much risk associated with it. I feel like if I want to get somebody at 8K, I want somebody with a little bit more safety and security. That's where Alex Noren and Russell Henley kind of come into play. Russell Henley is one of the best iron and approach players in the field. He excels on courses with small greens. He ranks 3rd in the field on courses with some of the smallest greens on tour. Again, mostly due to the fact that he's extremely accurate. I think that's going to be huge for him this week. He's going to hit fairways, hit long irons in the greens because he's really good with approach, and he's going to stick it close because he doesn't want to putt that much because he's not that much of a putting guy. So that's fine. I'm a big fan of Henley's. Again, I'm okay looking past Noren last week on a miscut, on a fluky one-time thing. I think he's going to be just fine this week. This isn't necessarily the perfect course fit for him, but I'm not really concerned. He's played well at a dozen other courses this year where he hasn't been the perfect course fit either. So I don't need him to be.
No, I think those are both 2 good plays. I agree with overlooking Noren's 1 bad week. He's been on a tear. He's been enlightening. He's been sneaky quiet in his last, I want to say, 3 months of golf, whatever is past the waste management. I think his worst finish is still inside top 25 outside of last week. So I'm not worried about him at all.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the numbers, it goes like Scotty, Rory, Xander, maybe Ludwig, and then it's like 5th or 6th, Alex Noren, and you're like, oh, interesting. That guy's 8,000. Everybody else in that range is like 10K or above.
That's what Thomas Dietrich was like last year at one point. We're just loading him in at our 5th spot and just not even thinking about it.
Yeah, that's kind of what Noren is. Maybe he's your 4th spot at 8,000 or however you have it lined up, but I mean, having him be a 4th or a 5th option at 8K, it feels like a cheat code a little bit. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, that's why I didn't do it, because I didn't want to cheat.
I know. What can I say? I get it. So, all right, into the 7K range we go. We got Tony Finau down.
Pause. Start that sentence over again, everybody. Think about what we just said.
In the 7K range, we are starting with Tony Finau. And we are going all the way down to Ricky Fowler. I'm gonna say his name as opposed to Kurt Kitayama's.
The fact that Tony Finau is in the 7K after having 1 missed cut and 3 of his last 4 starts are inside the top 20. 4 of his last 6 are in the top 20, including a runner-up, is crazy to me. It is crazy. I studied this. I looked at it. I looked everywhere. I'm so confused on what the odds makers are seeing that I'm genuinely scared. That's how in-depth I don't get it.
The big challenge with Tony is that he was losing like 3 to 5 strokes gained putting for the longest time to start this tour or this year for the PGA Tour. In the last like 7 starts, he's basically gone net neutral with the putter. And it turns out that he's a good enough player otherwise that once you get rid of an awful putter, it turns him into a winner type of player. It just works.
But
so
I'm scared. I think this is a trap.
I agree. I'm in the same boat. I don't think I can get to him. I like a few of the other guys in the 7K range a little better. I mean, Keegan Bradley has basically been.
That was the name I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, he's been similar to Tony. He's just $300 cheaper. The putter's in better form. I mean, in terms of finishes, they're, I don't know if identical is the word I would go, but extremely similar. So as far as upside, just give me the guy $200 cheaper. That's basically a similar version.
Yeah, I love Keegan Bradley this week.
So I'm going to also talk about. I'm going to talk about 2 guys here back to back. Will Zalatoris and Billy Horschel. Will Zalatoris seems like he is Wyndham Clark, but $1,500 cheaper. He's boom bust. He plays good on majors and out of the blue and on elevated events. He did gain 2 strokes putting at the PGA Championship last week, which is always nice to see when Will Zalatoris starts skating with the putter. And again, there's no tournament that is going to be more, major-esque style without being a major than a tournament here at Murfield Village. Billy Horschel has been playing arguably his best golf since probably the mid-2010s. He's gained in all statistical categories the past 4 starts outside of a T52 at Wells Fargo.
And a former winner here.
He is a former winner here as well. He's also gained strokes putting in 5 straight tournaments. He hasn't done that since he won the FedEx Cup way back when. He did win here in 2022 as well. So that's huge.
I hate.
What?
I can't stand Billy Horschel.
It's not pretty. It's the kind of guy where you have to like click the name, just say yes, and then just look away for the rest of the week. Like you just need to be like, I'm gonna sacrifice it, go, and then just cover your eyes and shield yourself.
Yeah, for the record, I don't hate Billy Horschel as a person, just for gambling purposes.
Yeah.
It's like the ultimate. The second I bet on you, it's like Helen Keller came back and was like, "Let me pick up a stick." Like it's just, I don't know what happens. I don't know what happens. And when he won in I don't know, I don't think it was Puerto Rico. I can't remember what it was, maybe Bahamas. That was the worst shirt I've ever seen, and I can't get that image out of my mind. I can't remember what tournament that was now. Wasn't Putin? What was it?
No,
what tournament did he win?
It was like Barracuda.
Barracuda.
Was it?
Was it?
It might have been.
Oh crap! It's gonna drive me.
You're good. We'll figure it out. Keep going.
Yeah, Corrales. He won Corrales.
That
was the worst shirt I've ever seen in history.
I'll show a photo here on the screen of the Billy Horschel shirt from Corrales. It is
somewhere.
It's not pretty. It's gonna be in the middle here. It'll probably be blocking both of our faces, and that's fine. Yeah, it's tough, and I get it. If you want to go the putting route, I understand going Bez. Chris Jump is weeding out.
He plays well here.
What?
He plays well here.
Plays solid. I feel like it's less of an upside play, more of a safety play. But I get it. If you want to go the guy who had the best approach play last week, you got Ben Griffin at 7,200. If you look, he's a completely different golfer than what he was last year. It's kind of crazy. He like actually makes cuts now and like really performs. I'm sorry, like, I don't mean to be disrespectful. I mad respect to Ben Griffin, but like he was always one of those guys that was like the last one into a tournament kind of deal. And I feel like now he's like, oh yeah, like I'll go finish top 40. That'll be fine.
Speaking of last guy into a tournament, Adam Scott withdrew from his U.S. Open qualifier.
Oh, interesting. That is funky. That is strange. I'm a little confused on that one. I'm going to talk about another safety option too, 7,200 Harris English. He's kind of a boring pick, but like now that he's not injured anymore, I feel like he just criminally sits in this low 7K range. And he makes a lot of cuts, which I know won't apply to him this week. But the amount of times I see him in these elevated fields finish somewhere in the realm of T15 to T30. I mean, if he's your fifth guy, sixth guy, and he's finishing T15, T30, you're ecstatic this week, because that means you probably got, Scotty and a couple other guys all finishing top 10, hopefully.
I agree with that. Yeah, my safety pick in that low 7K is Lucas Glover.
Yep.
Outside of the players, he's had one event that was outside of the top 40. He finished 43rd at PGA, which Valhalla and Murfield do not cross over, so we're good there. He's good everywhere. And if you're giving me 4 guaranteed rounds, and I mean most of the tournaments he's already played are elevated, so he's not necessarily. I'm looking at cuts here, but this guy is solid everywhere. I think he has a really good chance to surpass whatever benchmark is set for him. I think 7K is disrespectful.
Yeah, I mean, I love Lucas Glover because he won me a crap ton of money at the Masters. And I remember that because you laughed because I think Taylor Moore and Lucas Glover, and both of them finished T20. So I will always follow them now because of the.
He's a John Deere Classic champion. Don't ever disrespect that again.
That's true. I apologize. So,
I just spilled my water everywhere. Oh crap. Whatever. I don't care anymore.
Oh no. All right, let's finish this up then. 6K range, Akshay Bhatia all the way down to Peter Malnati at 6,000.
All right. I got some guys here. Number 1, shout out OG. I'm sorry in advance. I texted Liam. I said, weird feeling about Justin Rose. I think this could be a good week for him. No stats to back it up. I didn't want to research it. Feeling. But in reality, there's 2 guys that I like. One is normal. His name is Lee Hodges. He's done arguably well over the course of the year, considering he's at 6,500, 10 for 16 on cuts. Here's his last 3 finishes. 12th, Charles Schwab, 12th, PGA, 24th in Wells Fargo. You're telling me this guy who's playing probably the best golf stretch of his career, arguably, and you're giving me 4 guaranteed rounds, barring getting stung by a bee in the center of the pupil. I just really like that. Secondarily, the guy that I'm most excited to talk about, Jackson Koivon. Let me just tell you, today, Jack Nicklaus Award, Phil Mickelson Award. This guy is, I don't know how he's the number 4. Again, here comes Jack Nerd. USGA number 4 AM ranking, which is so disrespectful. It's actually ridiculous. He has not, in the last, I want to say 40 weeks, had a finish outside the top 5 in any college AM championship, SEC, Baton Rouge, Tiger Invitational, Wake Forest, Jones Cup. Everything has been in the top 5. This guy's a monster. Hammer it.
There we go. I took 2 other guys in the 6K range that I don't dislike. Admittedly, this range is scary to me. I think potentially the best guy in this range overall could be Taylor Moore, just based on consistency. 7th in the field in strokes gained around the green, 19th in driving distance, 23rd overall in strokes gained tee to green. This is a guy who just seemingly always seems to crack top 20 in these big name tournaments. It doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense why he does it. Usually most guys would crack under the pressure. Taylor Moore seems to enjoy showing up at these big tournaments and just finishing on the leaderboard with all the other big names.
You want to know why? You listen to Kevin Kisner say they pay a whole hell of a lot of money for 30th or whatever he said.
I mean, pretty much though. Yeah, Taylor Moore really does just thrive at finishing top 30 and that type of stuff. I will talk about Seamus Power. He's gained on approach in each of his last 8 starts. If he continues, I could totally see a top 25 finisher better here out of him. It's not a fancy play per se, but he's a viable option at 6,300. At that point, though, you might want to go to Jack Sky at 6K and just get the extra $300 in order to go get Scotty or somebody else then.
I don't know how he's number 4. It blows my mind. I mean, if you watch, sorry, everybody. I know that not everybody's watching Golf Channel anymore, which is a mistake. They need to put more golf back on Golf Channel. But, oh my God, they love playing all these SEC championship golf. It's on NBC sometimes. This guy's on the leaderboard every single tournament. Every single one.
Yeah, it makes sense. So, all right. What does your DraftKings lineup look like this week, Jack?
It looks like Xander Schauffele at 10,900. Colin Morikawa at 9,800. Fingers crossed it's the same Colin. Ludwig Aubert at 9,500. Lucas Glover 7K, Lee Hodges 6,500, and then Jackson at 6K flat.
Yeah, that checks out because I know that you went heavy there with those first 3 guys. So I was trying to think of how you were mathematically making that all work, but I forgot.
I was gonna bypass Colin and go Scotty, Xander, Obear, Glover, and then try to go 2 6s, but I couldn't make it work.
Yeah, that's tough. All right, I went a little more balanced than that. I took Xander at 10,900, Ludwig Obear at 9,500, Alex Noren at 8,100, Billy Horschel at 7,400, Harris English at 7,200, and Taylor Moore at 6,800.
I don't hate it. That's honestly built very safe. Mine is I'm kind of playing both lineups as in barring a plane crash. I'm just gonna say the most drastic out of pocket things. We got 4 rounds.
Yeah, I think
Hideki Matsuyama and some terror, or something terrible. I didn't mean to say terror. Don't come at me, FBI. I meant terrible, not terror. We got 4 rounds out of these guys, so that's how I built it. But my FanDuel kind of did what I wanted to do with DraftKings. I went Scotty at an egregious like 14,000.
Yeah,
it is ridiculous.
He's super expensive there.
But it worked because Xander, even though expensive, 12,200, Keegan Bradley was $3,000 cheaper at 9,400. Alex Noren, Lucas Glover at 8,200, and then my boy Jackson at 7K. It kind of worked out a lot better. If I could have gotten that same lineup in DraftKings, I would have happily taken that.
Yeah, I went a slightly different route in FanDuel. I took Rory at 12,400. Then I went Xander at 12,200. I took Max Homa at 10,300. I took Alex Noren at 9,000. I took Taylor Moore at 8,100. And we didn't really talk about him, but I feel like I talk about him like every other week. So I'm sure you guys have heard about him if you've listened to the podcast before. My 6th guy is Davis Thompson at 7,900. So
we like that.
Yeah. So again, a little bit of a safety option, but we'll be good.
All right. Well, Daddy's back. Jack's here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm back. I'm here to save you guys. I'm here. I have 5 bets, and I love them. Number 1, preface. Liam Squad wrote this. It's probably going to lose, but it's his fault, not mine. Xander Schauffele, top 20 in round 1 is minus 134. Xander Schauffele is a stick. He's amazing. He is, I call him the most consistent golfer, tee to green, outside of finishes, on the PGA Tour. I think that's a lock. Xander Schauffele, top 10 is minus 110. I think this guy should surpass this easily. I mean, if he just goes out there and shoots 2 under every single round, you're telling me there's going to be 9 other guys, at least not including ties, they're going to finish better? I don't know. Ludwig Obear, top 20 is minus 150. This guy's top 10 and like top 20 in the world as a rookie. This guy's been surpassing everything. He's had 1 hiccup. I'm not biting into that. Patrick Cantlay, second all time or second in the last decade in course history here, only losing to Scotty Scheffler, who's only played like 3 times. Patrick Cantlay, top 20 is minus 105. Yes, it's a different Patrick Cantlay, but this is, if you're gonna pick Cantlay, this is the spot. Outside of like the FedEx Cup, but like this is the spot.
You don't have to convince me. That's
you don't. Sure. Yeah, I mean maybe East Lake if you really want to get fancy, but like Cantlay's here. And then Scotty top 5 minus 110. I mean,
the fact that that's minus money is the dumbest shit of all time. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
like he's dumb. Top 5 minus 110. Oh,
it's dumb. Sorry. It doesn't make sense. But my golly, I think I almost, for the record, just put Scotty winner as a bet. But I was like, you know what? If someone comes out and shoots 16 under, good for them. Go Lee Hodges. Have fun, buddy. Actually, I wouldn't mind that. He's in my lineup. But go Lee Hodges. Scotty's going to finish top 5. Bounce back week. Minus 110. Lock it.
This is going to be like a Kurt Kitayama week. Somebody totally out of the blue now that you've said that. All right. For my bets, I got 6 of them going. First one's going to be Ludwig Obear over Victor Hovland at minus 110. The second one is Max Homa over Matt Fitzpatrick at minus 110. My third one is Alex Noren over Cam Young at minus 110. My fourth one is that squad ride, Xander Schauffele, top 20 round 1 at minus 134. My fifth one is Ludwig Aubert, top 20 round one at plus 105. I think because he missed the cut last week, he's going to come out firing and be super angry. And then my sixth one is going to be Patrick Cantlay, top 10 at plus 210. So Jack likes him top 20. If you are a little nervous about that, I get it. You can take him at top 20 as well. I think he has the upside to easily finish top 10 this week.
The only one that I'm a little hesitant about is Noren and Cam Young. I think if I would have seen Ludwig Gobert over Victor Hovland, I would have put my stuckle and my pickle on that bet.
I thought about putting 10 units on it, but I was like, let's just stick with the one. Let's not.
I don't think you have 10 units.
Yeah, I would go into the red 10 units, and that's the issue.
Take a loan. No, but I love that bet. It's all about. I mean, the one that I'm concerned, and not even a concern, is it's less about how Alex Noren plays and more about how Cam Young plays. Because we call them the American Sepp Straka, maybe the same thing as Sam Burns, because he has the ability to go top 5 here. But Noren has been playing otherworldly consistent outside of 1 week. So I like it. I mean, there's a concern about every bet. That's why it's gambling. But
yeah, I mean, I think best case scenario or worst case scenario for that Alex Noren Cam Young bet is that I got two guys battling it out in the top 10, trying to figure out who's going to be the higher finisher between the two. That is worst case scenario. Yeah. I think best case scenario is Cam Young shoots 25 over and he's like fifth to last, like he's been half the weeks. So it's a give and a take, but there's so much upside potential there that at minus 110 I took it the whole way. So all right, winners or wildcard picks?
I love my wildcard.
Okay. Go for it.
Jackson, Koi Vaughn, top 40 at plus 260. There's not a ton of guys in this field. This guy is he's dang good. Like, when I say this is a hot take, but if you're a golf nerd, you'll understand it. He is one of this generation's Akshay Bhatias. If you watched Whistle Sports a decade ago, you knew who Akshay was. Like, if you watch any golf channel, not for like golf pregame, you're going to see this kid's name. Plus 260 to beat, it's like half the field.
Yeah.
I mean, if he goes out and shoots even par 4 days, got a chance here.
Yeah, I think there's 70 guys in the field, so maybe 75. But yeah, he's got to be between like 30 and 40 guys. So mine's a little bit more of a risk. I took Hideki Matsuyama as the top Asian over Benyon, Sung Jae Im, Siwoo Kim, and Tom Kim. Look, there's a lot of risk in that one. I don't recommend going that route, but at plus 280, we're going to give it a chance. What?
The way you were like, Hideki Matsuyama, look. Don't bet this. Look.
Well, it's a wild card pick. I want people to be abundantly clear that this is a wild card pick, okay?
What do you think about sandwiching that in with Siwoo? Because Siwoo's played well here in the past.
I mean, you could argue too that Tom Kim is playing good form right now, and he played well at PGA Championship, and he's played well each of the last couple weeks. You could argue Sung Jae Im might finish fifth to last. Like, there's a lot of inherent risk, but I like the idea of betting one of these guys as the top Asian, and it just made sense that Hideki has the most upside, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Siwoo is plus 375 if you want a sandwich.
I'm good. I'm good with what I got. We'll keep Hideki as my wildcard pick.
If he was your real bet, I would force you to do it.
Oh, I agree, but that's why it's a wildcard pick.
Want to know what's funny though? Tom Kim is last.
Yeah, which doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense to me. I almost thought about putting him in there, but so. All right, on the winners picks we go. Who you got, Jack?
Scotty by whatever the heck he wants. I think he wins by 3. And if that's a bet, let me see.
Only
I might
3?
have to look. Yeah, my bad. Scotty, let's see. Is there? Oh yeah, Scotty to win by 3 shots or more. Guess what the odds on that? It's just offhand. I have it.
Like plus 600.
Yeah, plus 700. Think about that.
Yeah, that checks out.
Plus 700. The second highest odds guy to win is Xander Schauffele at plus 700. So it's just as likely that Scotty wins by 3 as Xander Schauffele wins.
That's absurd.
Think about that. Yeah, Scotty by whatever the heck he wants. anything he wants. I mean, that's Bohemian escort, whatever he wants. And
Oh my God. Come on, Giggles. We got to finish this.
okay, I've had a long day. Secondarily, I was torn really between Lucas Glover and Keegan Bradley, but I just think that Lucas Glover is just so consistent that I think he has a chance to be on the leaderboard come Sunday. I don't think this is getting to 17 under. Like I said, I think we're looking at between 9 and 12, maybe 10 and 12. Or no, I said it's going to be higher. I think what did I say? 10 and 13, 11 and 13, one of those two.
Yeah, that range.
2 under every day. That's 8 under. That's leader. Excuse me. That's top 15, and I think he can surpass that if he plays it.
Yeah. Don't hate the Lucas Glover pick. I do hate the Scotty pick, man. Come on, you can't. He's such a bad golfer right now. I mean, what are you gonna? No, I'm just kidding. For my winners, I took Patrick Cantlay, again, just based on course history. And then I took Russell Henley for the iron play and the approach play and the ability to hit accurate golf shots, basically, is the simplest way to go about it. So I think Henley's in good form. Cantlay's got the course history. So between one of them, I think one of them will be on the leaderboard come Sunday.
I don't hate that. I think Cantlay, good shot. I'd be happy with that. We both would.
Yeah, no, I'd definitely take that. All right, let's be wise this week. Bet the money you got. Margin appropriately. What?
Bet the money you got. By the way, I'm negative. What are you?
No, I'm saying margin appropriately.
We have a major next week. That's why I'll bet 5 bets.
Next week is a major tournament. Bet appropriately. Bet what makes sense to you. And then we will see you next week when everybody makes them green at the U.S. Open.
Follow, baby. Let's go.